Welcome to Answers About Alzheimer's. I'm your host, Debra. I have been so excited about this video. I cannot tell you. There is so much to learn and implement when it comes to dementia. I have nearly 2 decades of experience and trials and errors to share with you. Dementia can be overwhelming, but you know what they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. If you're new to Alzheimer's or the dementia scene, try not to get overwhelmed. You can do this one step at a time or one bite at a time. And I promise I'll be right there with you. I'll travel your dementia journey with you through every twist and every turn, every joy and every disappointment. And there will be many disappointments. I'll be here. I'm just a text or an email away. Reach out to me anytime you find yourself in need. You know, I also have a Facebook group called Answers About Aging and Alzheimer's. So join me in the Facebook group for some more great information and sharing. When we work with a population of people with brain damage and we don't have years of education and experience, we're bound to make mistakes. We can't possibly know how to handle every situation. And we absolutely can't be expected to know exactly what to do when these problems erupt so quickly. And they do come up quickly, don't they? Practice makes perfect. And rehearsing scenarios will help you tremendously. Role play with yourself. Watch my videos over and over. You'll never retain it all in one view. I also have some role-playing videos for you as well on this channel, so watch those too. When a situation happens, don't react too quickly to the person. Take a second or two to think about your next move. I guarantee that just by doing that, you'll have better outcomes. So don't react too fast. I'm going to bet that you're here because you're frustrated, exhausted, you're at the end of your rope. You need solid advice and strategies that actually work. You're looking for answers and results. Well, I got you. This is what this channel is all about. Answers. Answers and results. Because let's face it, you can watch and you can learn, but will it get you results? Real results? I guarantee if you implement and practice, you will see results. But I can't do it for you. It's a choice. It's a choice to decide what's not working and make a change. So be open to change and move forward. You and those you care for will be healthier and happier for it. These videos are intended to educate you and should be watched several times to really let all the information sink in. As you learn and watch all the videos, you'll begin to see how they all work together for the big dementia plan of action. Getting a better, clearer understanding of what that person is experiencing in their brain will give you more insight to the why behind their actions or reactions. The first thing that you should never do with a person you're working with, whether they are your mom or your dad or a resident in a nursing home or a care community, is to argue. I know, it's hard. It's very, very hard. My mom and I would get into arguments sometimes, and when I left, I would beat myself up for it. Here I am, a dementia expert and an Alzheimer's trainer, and I would get sucked into an argument with my own mother. So I get it. It's not easy. But we are the ones with all of our brain cells. We are the ones who are able to consciously take a pause and think before we speak. Those with brain damage, they can't do that. We have the advantage here. The person with dementia is unable to pause and think about what they're going to say or how it's going to come out or how it's going to be received by the other person. They physically cannot do that. So who does it fall on? Yep, you guessed it. It falls on us. If you're getting into an argument with a person with dementia, it's your fault. You choose to engage. You knowingly engaged in a back and forth with a person who has a damaged brain. Does that even make sense? Does that make any sense at all to get into a fight with someone with brain damage? So no one is perfect and it's bound to happen, but we have to learn to let it go. If you get into an argument, recognize it and learn for the next time. Let me give you another example. Let's say your loved one had one leg. They were in a tragic car accident and they lost their leg. Let's say they had their leg amputated, maybe about 6 months ago. Would you run a race with them? Would you ask that person with one leg, confined to a wheelchair, to get up and challenge them to a race? No, you wouldn't. That would be mean, wouldn't it? That would be mean. To ask a person confined to a wheelchair to get up and run a race, this person can't run. Even if they wanted to, they can't run. So why would you get into a disagreement with a person with neurodegeneration? They don't have the communication skills to pick a side or to fight for themselves. So instead of arguing or getting sucked into a fight, join their side. Be on their team. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. What matters is peace and calm. And as far as I'm concerned, you are the winner no matter what, because you have an intact brain. You must decide that it's not a fair fight. It's like running a race against a person with one leg. It makes no sense. The next time you notice things going south, you see the start of a disagreement, stop yourself. Picture that person with half of their head caved in from a tree falling and crushing their skull, because that's what they're arguing with, half a brain. Look at them and see one leg. Ask them to run. Just stop. Don't engage. So that's the first thing we should never do with a person with dementia or cognitive decline. Never argue. I have more examples and ways to get out of and diffuse these situations in my book, Forget Me Not. The second piece of advice that I have for you today is that you should never correct the person with dementia. You don't need me to tell you that everyone will be happier if there is peace and calm. When you correct someone, what are you implying? When you tell someone or suggest to them a correction, what are you saying to that person? You're saying that they're wrong. Who wants to be wrong? No one. What happens when you tell a person they are wrong? They get defensive. What happens when we get defensive? We fight back. We try to prove our point. And as we just got done talking about, we don't argue. So correcting is just challenging the person to a fight. Is that a DBT? Is that a dementia breakthrough? Comment below. DBT. So when you correct a person with brain damage, you're picking a fight with them. You are challenging them to prove their point to you. And we both know they cannot prove a point. They can't rationalize. They can't think with a brain that has been wasting away little by little, year after year. It's the hamster on the wheel all over again. Correcting creates a challenge. Challenge creates an argument. It's all a vicious cycle. Don't go there. Avoid correcting at all costs. So again, in the book Forget Me Not, I have many, many specific examples about how to avoid these exchanges. So don't wait. Get a copy of Forget Me Not right now. I'll put the link below for you. Before we go into the third thing you should never do with someone with Alzheimer's or dementia, drop me a note in the comment box. Let me know what you're getting from this. Tell me your thoughts and ask questions. I read every comment and I'll reply to you. I love hearing from you. All right, let's continue with the third tip. The third thing you should never ever do. Are you ready for it? And when we get through this one, you will see how all three kind of go together. So the third never is never persuade, or should I say never attempt to persuade. Our whole lives we spend speaking our case, persuading others. Oh, you should try this restaurant. Hey, you should go see this movie. It's great. We have constantly been persuading others on all kinds of topics. But in order to persuade a person, the receiver must be cognitively able to process logical information. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this now. I see you're getting it. So persuading or persuasion is not something that a brain with dead cells is able to process. The person with dementia is not capable of being persuaded. This requires the ability to rationalize. It takes the ability to understand facts and proof. This brain is unable to perform any of these functions any longer. So when you try to persuade someone, it's going to be a fail. Don't set yourself up for failures. Failures feel like shit. Don't do it. In most cases, when you're trying to persuade a person with dementia, you're actually pushing them even farther the other way. Again, it's a challenge. So when you're attempting to persuade, you're actually strengthening their resistance. You're going backwards. People who have cognitive decline are very, very strongly attached to their beliefs and their opinions. Whether those convictions are right or wrong doesn't matter. So that concludes the three things you should never do with a person with dementia. Never argue, never correct, and never persuade. I feel like there are so many great comparisons in today's information. Let me know what impacted you the most and how it's going to change your behavior or actions. Tell me in the chat box below. It was great to see you today. Watch for our new videos on Tuesdays and Fridays. Subscribe to the channel. And remember, together we can. See you next time. If you're a nurse, a doctor, a CNA, an HHA, if you work in dining services or housekeeping services, these videos are for you. And if you're here, it means that this topic interests you and that you really care. But I'm going to tell you a little secret. Pretty soon, I'm going to be launching a certification training program. So if you want to up your game, if you want to walk into your boss's office and ask for a raise because you've had these trainings and you really know then you're going to want to sign up for these training classes. They are going to blow you away. And the reason I can say that is because I've taken all these other courses and I know how this compares to them. They're not even in the same category. So you can put your email address down there. You can go to my website, answersaboutalz.org, and drop me a note, and I'll make sure that you get on the waiting list, and I'll inform you and let you know when that training program is going to start.